Hey guys, Cameron with CBM Reviews here, and I'm here for the 2-episode review for you again. We're back on the Doom Patrol train. This time we're talking about episode 3 and 4, Puppet Patrol and Cult Patrol. So I'm going to talk about these episodes without going into any spoiler territory, tell you about how I feel about them, and maybe some big takeaways from each episode. Before I get started, I have nothing but huge thanks for all my subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel. It means a whole lot to me. We're getting really close to 500 subscribers, and when I hit that mark, I'm going to do something really special for one of my subscribers. So if you want to be part of that, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to know as soon as I post a video, hit that notification bell. You'll know as soon as I post a video. So on to episode 3 and 4. And first I'm going to talk about episode 3, which is Puppet Patrol. Essentially, the chief is still gone and they're looking for him, and all roads point to Paraguay. So eventually a couple of the heroes here go down to Paraguay and they find out a little bit more history about their adversary, Mr. Nobody, as well as a little bit of history about the chief. Like I said, I'm not going deep into spoiler territory, but one of the other things that happens in this episode is we get a whole lot more backstory to Negative Man. Yes, I said it right. And I really appreciated this backstory because not only do we get to know the character a whole lot better, but we get actual representation. And this is something that really not only happened back then, but it happens now. But I'm not even talking about the whole in the closet, married life, that sort of thing. Just the fact that we have representation. I myself am straight and I'm married, and that's perfectly fine. But we have a character here that has a lot of issues and baggage and things going for him, but he just so happens to be gay. That's not the number one descriptor for him. It's just one of the descriptors. And I think that's huge that sort of representation is taking place in comic book lore. We saw the same thing happen in the Umbrella Academy with one of the kids, number 4. And it was not his number one descriptor. It just happened to be one of them. And I think that the more and more that we're getting comic book TV and movie adaptations, and we get representation for everybody and not just one or two people, I think that's great for all of us. So I really appreciated seeing his backstory, even if there was a lot of tragedy involved in it. But the episode was good. I liked the episode, and it also made me wonder what is up with how people don't age in this show, because there's a moment where the chief is like in the 1940s, as you saw in the very beginning of episode 1. But he looks just like he looks now, even though we haven't seen him since episode 1. And then with the Elastic Woman, she's from the 50s, still looks the same. With Negative Man, I mean, technically he's burned to a crisp, but he's not an old guy. He still looks the same. And then Crazy Jane is technically from the 70s, and she looks the same. So I'm trying to figure out what is up with the lack of time change, because they could have gone with something new, like say an Ultimate Universe type thing, instead of going with the original backstories, but they didn't. They went with these 40s, 50s, 60s backstories, or the 70s, and nobody's aging. And I'm kind of curious as to why that is, but I'm sure that it will come up in a future episode, and those questions will be answered. So that was episode 3, and it was good. And then I watched episode 4, and it was Cult Patrol. And I don't know if I could have disliked an episode more. I am getting out of the habit of spoiling an episode if I don't like it. I've done it before, and I'm gonna stop doing it. However, this episode was really disjointed and disconnected from all of the episodes that have come before. We've only had 3 episodes before this, so it's not like it's been a bunch. But what happens in this episode, and it's very much occult laden, which doesn't bother me, but it still doesn't have any kind of real connections to what's been laid before. It's completely disjointed. And I understand that everything will more than likely make sense in the end, but you can't just introduce everything new and expect something cohesive to come out of it. I mean, it bothered me how much was introduced without rhyme or reason, and it's supposed to be completely accepted just because the show introduced it. I had a huge problem with Cult Control, and because of the way it ends, much like another episode in Doom Patrol ended, it's necessary to watch, so you can't just skip it and go to the next one. It's just, it makes me afraid that this show is just trying to be weird, or like the weirdest comic book TV show, just for weird's sake. My number 1, 2, and 3 most important thing about any show or movie that I watch is the story. Is the story good? Is the story good? And is the story good? And as of right now, I think Doom Patrol is like, are we the weirdest show? Are we the weirdest show? Are we the weirdest show? It's making it hard for me to watch, especially since, if you remember in my first video, I originally didn't like the first episode, and then I had to rewatch it to really get it to sink in. This, number 4, I wouldn't watch it again unless somebody paid me to watch it. And I understand that's kind of ugly, but I'm just being honest with you guys. I'm not going to tell you, oh, I loved it when I didn't. I'm not going to tell you I liked it when I didn't. I'm going to give you the truth. And the truth is, this episode I did hate. There was a point where I was starting to enjoy it, and I had to go through 35 minutes of drivel to get there. And even after it got to that point, it didn't change my mind about the episode. So I went from something that I enjoyed and I thought that was important on a cultural basis to an episode that was just way out there, disjointed, disconnected, and made me have that original feeling of dislike for the show. So hopefully when I do my next reviews, we'll get some episodes that connect some dots, and I'll feel a little bit better about Doom Patrol. So that's my review for Doom Patrol episodes 3 and 4, Puppet Patrol and Cult Patrol. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Share this with your friends on Facebook and Twitter, and as always, this is Cameron with CBM Reviews. We'll see you next time.